Hi, welcome back to Flipping Pages, Stirring Sauces. As you can see, I'm still having issues with lighting, even though it's a perfectly beautiful overcast day. But the important thing is that you hear me. And I would like, by the way, the smell of the lilies and other flowers back is amazing. It like I'm just getting this wonderful whiff of nature, and these flowers smell absolutely amazing. Anyway, I would like to say thank you to all the people who have liked, subscribed, shared, and commented. And shout out to my godson and welcome back to Flipping Pages, Stirring Sauces. And I hope that somebody will get something out of this reading today. I'm going to be reading from the book of Jubilees, chapter 8 through 10. And there's some more information about what is going on here today in the previous recording. So I'm just going to jump right in and read starting at Jubilees 8. This is being offered from the books of Enoch, Jubilees, and Jasher by Derica A. Shriver. And I would like to satisfy the Canadian and American copyright laws by saying that this reading is being done under the Fair Use section of the Copyright Act for research and educational purposes, and under the Canadian portion of the act it's under fair dealing, and this is being read in order to educate the melinated population on exactly who they are, their history, and what has been done to change that history. And we talked about the earth was divided into different sections for different tribes, and I think this chapter speaks a little more to that, and I'm just going to jump right in and start at chapter 8, and hopefully we will get through it before the rain comes down, and hopefully soon I will be able to solve my lighting issue. Chapter 8 from the book of Jubilees, which you will not find in the King James Bible, by the way, because it was taken out in order to keep us melanated people in the dark. In the 29th Jubilee, in the first week, in the beginning thereof, Arpachshad took to himself a wife, and her name was Raju Ija, the daughter of Susan, the daughter of Elam, and she bare him a son in the 3rd year, in this week, and he called his name Canaan. And the son grew, and his father taught him writing, and he went to seek for himself a place where he might seize for himself a city. And he found a writing which former generations had carved on the rock, and he read what was thereon, and he transcribed it and sinned owing to it, for it contained the teaching of the watchers in accordance with which they used to observe the omens of the sun and moon and stars in all the signs of heaven. And we do have watchers who watch us today and report back everything that we do. And he wrote it down and said nothing regarding it, for he was afraid to speak to Noah about it, lest he should be angry with him on account of it. And in the 30th Jubilee, in the second week, in the first year thereof, he took to himself a wife, and her name was Melika, the daughter of Madai, the son of Japhet. And in the 4th year he begot a son, and called his name Shelah, for he said, Truly I have been sent. And in the 4th year he was born, and Shelah grew up and took to himself a wife, and her name was Muach, the daughter of Kesed, his father's brother. In the 31st Jubilee, in the 5th week, in the 1st year thereof. And she bare him a son in the 5th year thereof, and he called his name Eber. And he took unto himself a wife, and her name was Azurad, the daughter of Nebrod. In the 32nd Jubilee, in the 7th week, in the 3rd year thereof, and in the 6th year thereof, she bare him a son, and he called his name Peleg. For in the days when he was born, the children of Noah began to divide the earth amongst themselves. For this reason he called his name Peleg. And they divided it secretly amongst themselves, and told it to Noah. And it came to pass in the beginning of the 33rd Jubilee that they divided the earth into 3 parts, for Shem, and Ham, and Japhet. According to the inheritance of each, in the 1st year, in the 1st week, when one of us who had been sent was with them. And he called his sons, and they drew nigh to him, they and their children, and he divided the earth into lots, which his 3 sons were to take in possession. And they reached forth their hands and took the writing out of the bosom of Noah their father. And there came forth on the writing as Shem's lot, the middle of the earth, which he should take as an inheritance for himself and for his sons, for the generations of eternity. From the middle of the mountain range of Rapha, from the mountain of the water, from the river Tina, and his portion goeth towards the west, through the midst of the river, and it extended till it reached the water of the abyss, out of which this river goeth forth, and poureth its water into the sea, Meat. And this river floweth into the great sea, and all that is towards the north is Japheth's, and all that is towards the south belongeth to Shem. And it extended till it reacheth Carasso. This is the bosom of the tongue which looketh towards the south. And its portion extended along the great sea, and it extended in a straight line till it reacheth the west of the tongue, which looketh towards the south. For this sea is named the tongue of the Egyptian sea. And it turneth from here towards the south, towards the mouth of the great sea, on the shore of its waters, and it extended to the west of Aphra, and it extended till it reacheth the waters of the river Gihon, and to the south of the waters of Gihon, to the banks of this river. And it extended towards the east till it reacheth the garden of Eden. To the south thereof, to the south, and from the east to the whole land of Eden, and of the whole cast, it turneth to the east, and proceeded till it reacheth the east of the mountain named Rapha, and it descended to the bank of the mouth of the river Tina. This portion came forth by lot for Shem and his sons, that they should possess it forever unto his generation forevermore. And Noah rejoiced that this portion came forth for Shem and for his sons, And he remembered all that he had spoken with his mouth in prophecy, for he had said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem. Baruch be the Awah of Shem. And may the Lord dwell in the dwelling of Shem. And he knew that the Garden of Eden in this Holy of Holies, and the dwelling of the Lord, and Mount Sinai, the center of the desert, and Mount Zion, the center of the navel of the earth, these three were created as holy places facing each other. And he blessed the God of gods, who had put the word of the Lord into his mouth, and the Lord forevermore. And he knew that a blessed portion and a blessing had come to Shem and his sons unto the generations, forever, the whole land of Eden, and the whole land of the Red Sea, and the whole land of the east, and India, and on the Red Sea, and the mountains thereof, and all the land of Bashan, and all the land of Lebanon, and the islands of Catphor, and all the mountains of Sinir, and Amana, and the mountains of Asher in the north, and all the land of Elam, Asher and Babel, and Susan, and Mehedi, and all the mountains of Ararat, and all the region round, and all the region beyond the sea, which is beyond the mountains of Asher towards the north, and blessed and spacious land, and all that is in it is very good. And for Ham came forth the second portion beyond Gihon, towards the south, to the right of the garden, and it extended towards the south, and it extended to all the mountains of fire, and it extended towards the west, to the sea of Etel, and it extended towards the west, till it reached the sea of Moak, that sea into which everything which is not destroyed descendeth. And it goeth forth towards the north to the limits of Gadir, and it goeth forth to the coast of the waters of the sea, to the waters of the great sea, till it draweth near to the river Gihon, and goeth along the river Gihon, till it reacheth the right of the Garden of Eden. And this is the land which came forth for Ham, as a portion which he was to occupy forever for himself and his sons unto their generations forever. And for Japheth came forth the third portion beyond the river Tina, to the north of the outflow of its waters, and it extended northeasterly to the whole region of Gog, and to all the country east thereof. And it extended northerly to the north, and it extended to the mountains of Quelt towards the north, and towards the sea of Moak, and it goeth forth to the east of Gadir, as far as the region of the waters of the sea. And it extended until it approached the west of Farah, and it returned towards Epher Rag, and it extended easterly to the waters of the sea of Miat, and it extended to the region of the river Tina in a northerly direction until it approaches the boundary of its waters towards the mountain Rapha, and it turneth round towards the north. This is the land which came forth for Japheth and his sons, as a portion of his inheritance, which he should possess for himself and his sons, for their generations forever. 5 great islands and a great land in the north. But it is cold, and the land of Ham is hot, and the land of Shem is neither hot nor cold, but it is of blended cold and heat. Chapter 9. And Ham divided amongst his son, and the first portion came forth for Cush towards the east, and to the west of him for Mizraham, and to the west of him for Put, and to the west of him, and to the west thereof, on the sea of Canaan. And Sheri also divided amongst his sons, and the first portion came forth for Elam and his sons to the east of the river Tigris, till it approaches the east, the whole land of India, and on the Red Sea on its coast, and the waters of Dedan, and all the mountains of Mebri and Elah, and all the land of Susan, and all that is on the side of Parank to the Red Sea and the river Tina. And for Asher came forth the second portion, all the land of Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and the Euphrates, to the north of the Chaldees, to the border of the mountains of Asher, and the land of Arera. And there came forth to Lud the fifth portion, the mountains of Asher, and all appearing to them, till it reacheth the great sea, and till it reacheth the east of Asher his brother. And Japhet also divided the land of his inheritance among his sons. And the first portion came forth for Gomer to the east, from the north side to the river Tina. And the north there came forth from Magog, all the inner portions of the north, until it reacheth to the sea of Meat. And for Madai came forth as his portion, that he should possess from the west of his two brothers to the islands, and to the coast of the islands. And for Javan came forth the fourth portion, every island, and the islands which are towards the border of Lud. And for Tubal there came forth the fifth portion in the midst of the tongue, which approacheth towards the border of the portion of Lud, to the second tongue, to the region beyond the second tongue, unto the third tongue. And for Meshech came forth the sixth portion, all the region beyond the third tongue, till it approacheth the east of Gadir. And for Tyrus there came forth the seventh portion, 4 great islands in the midst of the sea, which reacheth to the portion of Ham, and the islands of Kamatori came out by lot for the sons of Arpachshad, and has his inheritance. And thus the sons of Noah divided unto their sons in the presence of Noah their father, and he bound them all by an oath, imprecating a curse on every one that sought to seize the portion which had not fallen to him by his lot. And they all said, So be it, for themselves and their sons forever throughout their generations, till the day of judgment, on which the Lord God shall judge them with a sword and with fire, for all the unclean wickedness of their errors, wherewith they have filled the earth with transgression and uncleanness and fornication and sin. Now we're on to chapter 10. And in the 3rd week of this Jubilee, the unclean demons began to lead astray the children of the sons of Noah, and to make to err and destroy them. And the sons of Noah came to Noah their father, and they told him, considering the demons which were leading astray and blinding and slaying his sons. And he prayed before the Lord his God and said, God of the spirits of all flesh, who has shown mercy unto me, and has saved me and my sons from the waters of the flood, and has not caused me to perish, as thou didst the sons of perdition. For thy grace has been great towards me, and great has been thy mercy to my soul. Let thy grace be lifted up on my sons, and let not wicked spirits rule over them, lest they should destroy them from the earth. But do thou bless me and my sons, that we may increase and multiply and replenish the earth. And thou knowest how thy watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. And as for these spirits which are living, imprison them and hold them fast in the place of condemnation, and let them not bring destruction on the sons of thy servant, my God, for these are malignant and created in order to destroy. And let them not rule over the spirits of the living, for thou alone cast existence, dominion over them, and let them not have power over the sons of the righteous, for henceforth and forevermore. And the Lord our God bade us to bid all. And the chief of the spirits, Mastema, came and said, Lord Creator, let some of them remain before me, and let them hearken to my voice, and do all that I shall say unto them. For if some of them are not left for me, I shall not be able to execute the power of my will on the sons of men. For these are for corruption, and leading astray before my judgment. For great is the wickedness of the sons of men. And he said, let the 10th part of them remain before him, and let 9 parts descend into the place of condemnation. And one of us he commanded that we should teach Noah all their mercies, for he knew that they would not walk in uprightness, nor strive in righteousness. And we did according to all his words. All the malignant evil ones be bound in the place of condemnation, and a 10th part of them we left that they might be subject before Satan on earth. And we explained to Noah all the medicines of their diseases, together with their seductions, how he might heal them with herbs of the earth. And Noah wrote down all things in a book, as we instructed him concerning every kind of medicine. Thus the evil spirits were precluded from hurting the sons of Noah. And he gave all that he had written to Shem, his eldest son, for he loved him exceedingly above all his sons. And Noah slept with his fathers, and was buried on Mount Lubar, in the land of Ararat. 950 years he completed in his life, 19 jubilees and 2 weeks and 5 years. And in his life on earth he excelled the children of men, save Enoch, because of the righteousness wherein he was perfect. For Enoch's office was ordained for a testimony to the generations of the world, so that he should recount all the deeds of generations unto generation, till the day of judgment. And in the 33rd Jubilee, in the 1st year, in the 2nd week, Peleg took to himself a wife, whose name was Lomna, the daughter of Sinahar. And she bare him a son in the 4th year of this week, and he called his name Reu. For he said, behold, the children of men have become evil through the wicked purpose of building for themselves a city and a tower in the land of Shinar. For they departed from the land of Ararat eastward to Shinar, for in his days they built the city and the tower, saying, Go to, let us ascend thereby into heaven. And they began to build, and in the 4th week they made brick with fire, and the bricks served them for stone, and the clay with which they cemented them together was asphalt, which cometh out of the sea and out of the fountains of water in the land of Shinar. And they built it. 43 years were they building it. Its breadth was 203 bricks, and the height of the brick was a third of one. Its height amounted to 5,433 cubits and 2 palms, and the extent of one wall was 13 stades, and of the other 30 stades. And the Lord our God said unto us, Behold, they are one people, and this they began to do, and now nothing will be withholden from them. Go to, let us go down and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech, and they may be dispersed into cities and nations, and one purpose will no longer abide with them till the day of judgment. And the Lord descended, and we descended with him to see the city and the tower which the children of men had built. And he confounded their language, and they no longer understood one another's speech. And they ceased then to build the city and the tower. For this reason, the whole land of Shemer is called Babel, because the Lord did there confound all the language of the children of men. And from thence they were dispersed into their cities, each according to his language and his nation. And the Lord sent... I missed my spot. And the Lord sent a mighty wind against the tower, and overthrew it upon the earth. And behold, it was between Ashur and Babylon in the land of Shinar, and they called its name Overthrow. In the 4th week, in the 1st year, in the beginning thereof, in the 34th Jubilee, were they dispersed from the land of Shinar. And Ham and his sons went into the land which he was to occupy, which he acquired as his portion in the land of the south. And Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, that it was very good. And he went not into the land of his inheritance, to the west, that is to the sea, and he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward, from the border of Jordan, and from the border of the sea. And Ham, his father, and Cush, and Mizraham, his brothers, said unto him, Thou wast settled in a land which is not thine, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so, for if thou doest so, thou and thy sons will fall in the land and be accused through sedation, and be accursed through sedation. For by sedation ye have settled, and by sedation will thy children fall, and thou shalt be rooted out forever. Dwell not in the dwelling of Shem, for to Shem and to his sons did it come by their lot. Cursed art thou, and cursed shalt thou be beyond all the sons of Noah, by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge, and in the presence of Noah our father. But he did not hearken unto them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon, and from Hamath to the entering of Egypt, he and his sons until this day. And for this reason that land is named Canaan. And Japheth and his sons went towards the sea, and dwelt in the land of their portion. And Madai saw the land of the sea, and it did not please him, and he begged a portion from Elam, and Asher, and Arpachshad, his wife's brother, and he dwelt in the land of Media, near to his wife's brother until this day. And he called his dwelling place and the dwelling place of his sons Media, after the name of their father Madai. And that ends the reading from chapter 8 to 10 of Jubilees. The fighting continues today, and the fighting will continue. No peace talks, no negotiations, no pretend interference from the powers that be to settle this dispute. Is going to settle this dispute because people are occupying a land which is not theirs, people have taken on the identity of other people, and as such, there can be no peace, because land was stolen, identity was stolen, and when you take something that does not belong to you, this is what happens: conflict upon conflict upon conflict. And the generations were cursed because of theft. Anyway, I will end it there. If you've enjoyed your time with me, I humbly ask that you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you haven't enjoyed your time with me, I hope that you have learned something today, that you have gained some knowledge out of this, and I wish you Baruch and Shalom.